Bear down, Chicago Bears. I'm coming to you live from the Punk Rock Pavilion located deep within my house to talk to you about the Chicago Bears today and how the Chicago Bears have put the NFL on notice that in 2024, they are going to be the number one offense in the league. This is not your father's Chicago Bears. Now, before we break all this down, make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Helps push me up in the algorithm. If you like this content, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you want to, hit the bell to be notified. We go live every day at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. There are also memberships available for private content if you are interested as well. Now, the important thing, the most important part of all of this is the Bears are going to be. And this, I'm just kind of laying this out for you guys to make the case that the Bears are in 2024 just going to be unstoppable. At this point, we have the go-to quarterback of the draft. Will he be as good as advertised? I don't know the answer to that. I know that he should be at least a serviceable and decent quarterback. And at this point, I think that that's all the Bears need. So the fact that he might have some tremendous upside is going to, and by the way, when I say tremendous upside, because he does play within the pocket when necessary, because he does keep plays alive when necessary, because he does all of the little things and did all the little things in college that make it a great opportunity. And you might be the first thing in your mind is, yeah, well, Justin Fields did the same thing. And I agree with you. However, he did not get the same coaching at the next level, didn't have the same talent at the next level, and we can't go relitigate the past and do anything about that. All we can do is move into the future. So at this point, you have Caleb Williams, you have Keenan Allen, you have DJ Moore as your bookends right here. That alone should be enough to make you say, hey, you know what? This is going to be a possession heavy, pretty good team that probably has the capability of moving down the field. Well, then we're going to add in DeAndre Swift. I've got some, and I'm not going to show it to you because every time I do, I get some kind of copyright strike. But I would encourage you to go look at DeAndre Swift with a critical eye. Go look at DeAndre Swift and watch the way he plays this game, how good he is at breaking tackles, how good he is at getting downfield. The guy had over 1,100 yards rushing last year. I think we've got a good win in DeAndre Swift. So you add that into the mix. Now, let's take Roma Dunze. He's the slot receiver, or at least we presume that he's going to be the slot receiver coming into this season. How is he going to adapt to the NFL? Well, this is a 6'3", 215-pound, go up and get everything contested catch, grabber sort of guy. This is the type of guy that you want in the end zone when you get down there. Caleb Williams, by the way, 46-1, 46 touchdowns, 1 interception in the red zone over 3 years. 46 touchdowns, 1 interception in the red zone. Consider those stats when you're considering whether or not Caleb Williams is going to be good or not. There are specific stats that just show him vastly improved to previous competition, if you will. So then, we're not done yet. Then you add in Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett. These are 2 elite tight ends in this league right now. Are they the level of Travis Kelce? No, of course, nobody is. Are they the level? Well, other than George Kittle, I suppose, or maybe Kyle Pitts. They're an elite group of tight ends. Well, maybe if we come down slightly a little bit, these guys are very, very good for sake of argument. So how are they going to thrive in this system? Well, if you've got Caleb Williams gunslinging the way it looks like he's capable, and you've got this sort of talent around him, and he can make the right reads and he can make the right progressions, and he's understanding the system. And by the way, I'm going to tell you why I think he's going to understand the system, that he's going to hit the ground running in just a few moments. Then you're going to say to yourself, like, this could be just an absolutely incredible thing that happens over the next 4 years or so, however long we can keep this team together. At least 1 year with Keenan Allen, but everybody else we've got for at least 2. So, hopefully this is going to be a big time team. So what happened? Well, yesterday, DJ Moore was in USC working out with Caleb Williams already. Caleb Williams not even moved to Chicago yet. DJ Moore already out there working out with him, but there's more. Not only did that happen. But there were rumors that have been confirmed now by inside sources that Caleb Williams has already worked out with Rome. He's already worked out with DJ. He's already worked out with Keenan all together. They actually did this, and we're getting ESPN reporting right now saying that they worked out last week all together. Now, at that point, they didn't know that Rome was coming to the Chicago Bears. Of course, they knew there was a possibility, but that they were either they were testing it out, seeing what it looks like. So he's already in part familiar with these guys. Now, getting the tendencies down is going to take a little bit longer, but here we are. These guys are putting it together and starting to work on it. While Williams won't be on the practice field until May 10th for rookie minicamp, the Chicago Bears' new quarterback is already hard at work preparing for the upcoming 2024 season with a new teammate. In a new photo from Shots by Goonie on Instagram, Caleb Williams and wide receiver DJ Moore are seen working out together in Los Angeles just days after Williams was selected with the first overall pick. The hope is Williams and Moore develop the kind of connection the star receiver built with Bears quarterback Justin Fields, and the pair are already hard at work developing chemistry. It's certainly no surprise for a player like Williams, who has preached hard work and dedication throughout his career, especially as he makes his transition to the NFL. So for the people out here who are not really fans of Caleb Williams because you don't like his fingernails or because you don't like that he cried one time, guess what? He's putting in the work already. This is not even, the ink is barely even dry, and they're already putting in voluntary time together on their own time, getting to know one another. This is a team that wants to win. They want to win immediately. This is a team that's going to be built for success. And those are the types of things that you see that are going to lead you to that. But I'm not even done with that, because we're going to talk about the defense at one point very soon. And when we look at the defense, you're going to like what you see. This isn't the first time that Williams and Moore have trained together. Tom Pelissaro reported last week that they hosted a workout with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze before he officially even joined the team. Although at that point, it was as close to a lock as one could get. When looking at Williams' potential in his rookie season, it's easy to look to Houston and CJ Stroud, who shined his first year en route to Offensive Rookie of the Year. While it's unfair to hold Williams to those expectations, there's no denying he landed in arguably the best situation for a number one quarterback ever. He's got an arsenal of weapons and an improved offensive line and a dominant defense poised to be the top unit in 2024. So that leads us to the next piece, which is off topic for just a moment. Guys, I got some pictures here of the new stadium to give you kind of an idea of what this is going to look like, because there is a little bit of news. So first of all, we're going to do this. I'm going to show you guys. This is what it looks like from on range, where you can see all of the sights and sounds at Northerly. And then a little bit zoomed in, you can see how they're continuing to keep the quote unquote bones of Soldier Field in place. It's going to be May 10. May 10 is going to be that's going to be the rookie camp when it starts. OTA is going to be May 20th and the 21st, and then May 23rd, 28th, and 9th, and then May 31st. Those are going to be the OTAs. Rookie minicamp is going to be on May 10. Anyway, so this is what it looks like when you still have the quote-unquote bones of Soldier Field kind of holding it up. This is what you get with a clear overhead sort of look coming from overhead. Then you've got this is the glass enclosure, which we're going to talk about. People apparently not very happy with the plans on the gigantic glass window here. That's going to allow you to see out of the stadium into into the heart of the city as the game is being played. Actually, fantastic view, by the way, because this, by the way, is the night view, a little bit zoomed out. Let's go back in here. You can see this. This is the platform on top of it. But then when you zoom out here just a little bit, then you get to see that there is an enormous sort of walkway to get you up into there, leading to an ice skating rink. This is on the outside of the area. You can see that on the left of everything on this screen right here. And this is what it looks like on the inside with the glass enclosure on the outside. You can see how the seating and stuff a little bit under the platform sort of area right there. Interesting sort of concept, and you'll be able to look out, see the city. This is what it would look like from the opposite side, window side, if you will. Getting a kind of a decent idea, mock-up wise, of what it would look like. So now that we can do that, let's stop for a second here, because now I've got Dirk Lohan, the original architect of the Soldier Field renovation and grandson of legendary Mies van der Rohe, published original designs for a lightweight roof and an additional 20,000 seats, bringing Soldier Field to 81,000 for the existing Soldier Field, co-signed by the original structure engineers. And by the way, Yadazakwa, like I've always said, whoever the quarterback is, I'm a supporter of. It didn't matter whether it was Justin Fields. It didn't matter if it was Caleb Williams. I'm going to be a supporter no matter what. My preference would still have been Justin Fields. Like I don't think that there was anything fundamentally wrong there. I think that given the type of talent that he would now be surrounded with, I think it would make an enormous leap and improvement. But it's not for me to call. There's too much. It makes perfect sense that they ran out of runway. Financially, they just had to. This was the perfect storm of getting Caleb Williams into the city. But anyway, this is what it looks like right here with a redesign on Soldier Field. And what they were looking for on this was an open roof concept with it's not retractable. It's just you can just see through it, through the top of it anyway. And then this would be kind of a redesign, if you will, of the current structure of what it looks like. Little outcropping right here. You've got these four pillars, if you will, kind of holding the roof sort of in place right there. I don't know. I assume the viability of this, because this is the guy that did it before. He probably has a pretty decent idea. And what he's saying is that this could be done for under $1 billion, not for the $7 billion that there was. And yada, I also think that Caleb's ceiling is potentially higher. I don't disagree with that. I just didn't. I look. A lot of us didn't like the fact that Justin Fields didn't get an opportunity. Like he kind of got thrown into a bad situation and didn't get a chance to develop. And I think a lot of us, because of the character of because of his character, I think we all really just wanted to see the kid succeed, if you will. So and I think we were pretty confident that he would be able to do the job. And not, I mean, I don't know, I don't know. I just I think we thought that he was a man of character, and we wanted to see him finish. And we don't. As a matter of fact, CJ Stroud is out here right now saying he doesn't even know what the Chicago Bears are doing, because like, why would they do this to Justin? You know what I mean? So there are a lot of people that are unhappy with the situation, but it's okay. Everybody will move on. Caleb Williams will come in. He'll show himself to be a star, and we'll be just fine. That's the best thing that I can say in relation to that. But again, this would be the east elevation, what it looks like over here. This would be the overhead, giving you kind of an idea of the roof support system and how it would structurally be figured into. And then finally, you get kind of a blueprint sort of design here, 960 feet across, 195 feet at its height, with 370 feet for the pillars, four pillars. And then you have here, now that the Bears have put their plan on the table, it's fair to give the taxpayers an opportunity to see the alternative. A design from architect Dirk Lohan, who was responsible architect for the 2003 renovation of Soldier Field and expansion, as well as the master plan of the museum campus. These drawings suggest adding to the existing stadium a translucent, lightweight domed roof, 20,000 additional spectator seats, and new amenities, including dining and an interactive Bears museum. Dirk Lohan and Thornton Tomasetti Joseph Burns, the structural engineer on record for the Soldier Field and Wrigley Field renovations, jointly developed a plan to locate on the outside of the stadium 4 columns to support the roof without obstructing spectator views. The reconstruction they proposed would create a sustainable a state-of-the-art stadium that would give the Bears the facilities they need today. Moreover, it would create a venue fit to host the Super Bowl, the FIFA World Cup, the great entertainment events that would attract millions of visitors and bring revenue to local businesses. Under Dirk Lohan's plan, the stadium would remain integrated with the park and the World War I memorial, remaining true to the values reflected in the Burnham and Bennett plans and the Chicago Lakefront Ordinance. Last but not least, protecting the existing investment would be far less expensive than building a new stadium from the ground up. Now, here is the other portion here, which let's go back over to this. And what we're looking at in this is, if you don't see it, it's okay, because you got to take a couple passes on this to really look at it. And I would encourage you to go look for yourself. But do you see how many luxury boxes there are here? If you're looking at it, and you're kind of they're of course 50-yard line, they're up after the first tier, but there's a bunch of luxury boxes on both sides. Now the question would be, what are you going to do about additional luxury boxes for Soldier Field if that were the case? Like, there's more to this than that. You know what I mean? Wouldn't the stadium be better in Arlington Heights? No, I don't think so. I mean, you want the look when you're coming here, you want the Chicago feel. When you want to see a Super Bowl, you want to be in downtown Chicago. You want to support the community in the downtown area. I don't think they were ever real serious about that. They can always look. I mean, they bought land. They can always sell land. You know what I mean? They found a spot. They called a bluff for the city mayor Lori Lightfoot, Beetlejuice. She said, we're not going to help the Bears. They need to win some goddamn games, or whatever stupid shit she said. And that they and it wouldn't it's well, and right, and they could probably get 200 million back for it. So somebody else is going to be looking at that property at some point, or they can process it up. They can turn it into a new Hallis Hall. They have options. They'll figure something out for it. And if it's financed, I don't know. So but I mean, look, you should be downtown. I mean, I don't know a situation in which I would like to be in the suburbs to go watch a football game, because I would be missing the skyline. I'd be missing the city. I'm not, like, this is about Chicago. It's about the Chicago Bears, not the Illinois Bears or the Arlington Heights Bears. It's about the Chicago Bears, and it feels good to be downtown. Now, would it be would it be the greatest? Look, I don't have a problem if they move to Arlington Heights. I'll make well of it, because it would be okay, I guess. But I mean, look, it's downtown Chicago. It's where everybody wants to be. With this mayor, downtown is a war zone. It doesn't matter what mayor, like, I don't know where we come up with these stats, right? You go look at the murder rate. Murder rate is no different than it's always been. Like, we're not pretend anymore. And look, I know, look, if you're being fed a narrative by Fox News, or some radical news organization or something like that, then sure. But it's, and by the way, it does spring up in different places. You're not wrong, but it's generally, when you start to go look at the map, it's not downtown Chicago. You're not looking at people look, if it was a war zone, people wouldn't go into a war zone, because people don't go into war zones. So it would be silly to treat it that way, when in fact it's just a downtown area, and there's people every day out there jogging. There's people out there shopping every single day. This is not a decrepit, it's not Detroit. This is not, this is Chicago, Illinois. So will you get some people out there who are disrespectful? Sure. But you get that everywhere. It's not people getting their asses kicked and getting the shit beat out of them at Chicago games. It's the other places where that kind of stuff is happening. Everybody's got crime. Everybody has crime. So I wouldn't care. There's no more crime around than there is at every other major city and every other major venue, even ones in places where they vote the way you want. or don't want, whatever the case may be. There's still crime in all these different big cities. So um, I don't consider it to be a problem. That's just something for that's and there you go. Like Cicero, Little Detroit, right? But we're not going to Cicero. That's so we're not going to certain areas where there's going to be a lot of crime. I mean, people are going to take 94 and look, they're just going to move over and there's a straight shot to the Chicago Bears, right? All you got to do is pass over to Lakeshore Drive and you're there. It's not like you have to go through the hood in order to get there. That's all pretend. So, and there's security at Soldier Field and in the South Lot, everywhere that you want, there's security. So this is just a, it, what I mean is, it's all pretend. It's all a lot of the oh my god, crime is performative. It does exist, like exists everywhere, um, uh, but it really is in specific neighborhoods with gang problems. It really is. So anyway, back to the matter. So I think that Arlington Heights does not represent the values of the Chicago Bears. A move in the city is going to be. The question is whether it's going to be this thing that they have or not. So let's move on now and let's talk about the next big piece. And the next big piece is the unofficial depth chart. Now, this is not from the Chicago Bears, by the way. This is the way too early depth chart from Yahoo, and what they're doing is putting it together, saying that and there we go. How do you explain that? 750,000 people at the draft at Detroit, no mass shooting. So, you know what I'm saying? And by the way, when I said Detroit, I didn't mean to be disrespectful to any Detroit fans who might be watching. I meant Detroit of 20 years ago when everybody was crying about, oh, we don't have electricity and stuff like that. And, it's never as bad as people say, but the media likes to manipulate you. And it's specifically right wing media wants to gin you up that you cannot vote for a Democrat and do wild shit over there because of that. And look, I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of validity to it in people's minds. Would it be improved with a Republican mayor? No. Could it be reduced sometime if you lowered taxes and stuff like that? There's things. There's things that you could do. And who you vote for, by the way, I don't give a shit who you vote for. But the point to it all is that it doesn't matter who's in charge, nothing changes. And if you cry about it and you say it's a Democratic state or blah, 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 well, there's a bunch of people dying in Miami and it's a Republican state run by Republicans all over Republicanville. Gainesville, Jacksonville actually has crack dens and meth labs everywhere. And it's got one of the biggest trailer park communities with meth addiction and all of that kind of stuff. And it's got a gigantic mile-long homeless encampment in that area too. And look, like we don't think about that when we think of Jacksonville, but there it is. And it's in a Republican state. It doesn't really matter. Like it's all bullshit. So we'll be fine in Chicago. However, depth chart number one, Caleb Williams, backup Tyson Bagent, and look like this is. And then on the bubble, emergency quarterback is going to be Brett Ripien. So that seems to be the lineup right now. Now they did sign up an undrafted free agent. I don't know if he makes the squad. Maybe he becomes like maybe he becomes a practice squad guy, something like that. Running backs. So starter is going to be DeAndre Swift with Khalil Herbert, Roshan Johnson, Travis Homer. I didn't know Travis Homer got re-signed. I didn't think he was on the roster anymore. And then fullback Kerry Blasingame. That's a lot, by the way. So I would think that Travis Homer probably gone at some point. But we'll see. I mean, if we'll see if he fits into the roster. Wide receiver, we got the X receiver is going to be DJ Moore and Tyler Scott. F receiver Keenan Allen, Dante Pettis. The Z receiver is going to be Roma Dunzi and Velas Jones Jr. And then you have Colin Johnson and Nasimba Webster on a future contract. Four locks are on here with three big names and Tyler Scott. You got Alan Moore, Odunzi, and Tyler Scott. Scott needs to refine his route running, but his speed should be more of a weapon in year two. with the Bears trio taking most of the defensive attention. So in 4 wide receiver sets, this guy might be he might be able to do whatever it is that he can do. And yeah, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. It's my show, but I get your point. I would prefer to talk about the Bears and not about that either. But DJ Moore, let's visualize it this way: DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Dunzi, and then the depth chart is going to be Tyler Scott, Dante Pettis, and Velus Jones. So if you have a 4 wide receiver set, you put in Tyler Scott, and he becomes your burner, and maybe that ends up being his opportunity to really shine. So we're going to see. We're going to see how he plays. Velus Jones Jr., they're going to give him a chance. How he develops, we'll see. Tight ends, you've got Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, and you've got Steven Carlson. After last season, the Bears signed him to a reserve future contract. Once camp rolls around, they'll add a few more bodies to that room, and we'll see whether or not he's that guy. And we'll see whether or not that's a thing. Now, the offensive line, left tackle Braxton Jones with Matt Pryor being the backup, Tevin Jenkins at left guard with Jatir Carter as the backup, and then at center we're going to have Ryan Bates and Coleman Shelton. By the way, Ryan Bates and Coleman Shelton are also going to be substitutes at the guard positions, along with Nate Davis at right guard with Jatir Carter. And then right tackle is going to be Darnell Wright with Matt Pryor and Jake Curran as the right tackle. And on the roster, you also have Larry Borum, Aviante Collins, Jerome Carvin, Doug Kramer, and Bill Murray. Bill Murray's a little old to be playing. The Bears brought in both Bates and Shelton this offseason. They will compete for the starting center spot in camp. Early indications are that Bates will start the offseason program as the top guy. Pryor gives the Bears valuable depth at tackle and guard. Carter gave up 5 pressures and 1 sack in 175 snaps. He's an okay depth piece, but might be on bubble watch once the training camp additions are made. Borum hit a playing time contract escalator and is owed $3.12 million in 2024. That'll likely be too much for a backup tackle, making him a roster bubble lock. And I really think that he should be gone. And then the Bears drafted Karan Amagaji in the 3rd round. This is a raw, toolsy tackle who will need to be developed. Poles said he doesn't envision Amagaji pushing Jones for the starting tackle position in year 1, but they hope the rookie can provide depth at both tackle and guard position. And that would mean that, this could mean that one of these guys is going to be ousted. And Larry Borum at over $3 million, probably the guy. So maybe we're going to get rid of that guy. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, by the way. However, defensive line, Montez Sweat, Austin Booker. At nose tackle, Andrew Billings and Zach Picken. 3 technique is Gervon Dexter. Defensive end on the right side is going to be Demarcus Walker, Khalid Kareem, Dominic Robinson. And then we've got Byron Cowart, Jacob Martin, Daniel Hardy, Michael Dwumfor. If there's a weakness in the Bears roster, it's the defensive line depth. After coming over from Washington via a mid-season trade, Sweat proved he was a legitimate star pass rusher and not just a product of the talent around him. So hopefully that's going to be good. Next up, the Sam is Jack Sanborn with backup Noah Sewell. Mike is Tremaine Edmonds with Amin Agbanamigma. And then Will is TJ Edwards with Amin Agbanamigma as the backup there. And then we have Micah Baskerville, who is on the roster with a futures contract. So secondary is going to be at the left corner is going to be Jalen Johnson with Terrell Smith as the backup. Right cornerback is going to be Tyreek with Jalen Jones. The nickel is Kyler Gordon, Josh Blackwell. Kyler Gordon also capable of playing cornerback. Free safety is Kevin Bowers with Elijah Hicks as the backup. Strong safety is Jaquan Brisker with Jonathan Owens and Travarius Moore as the backups there. And then we've got Greg Stroman, Quindell Johnson, Adrian Colbert, and Doug Coleman on futures contract on the roster as well. For specialists, we've got Cairo Santos as the kicker, Torrey Taylor as the punter, and the long snapper of Patrick Scales. Also under contract, Trenton Gill, Corliss Whiteman, and Cameron Lyons. So we'll see how this all plays out over time. But looks like the Bears, as depth goes, is doing pretty good. So now, Bears X, this is things that are on Twitter. Dirk So Demarcus Walker working out diligently right now, and this guy says this is just another year Chicago Bears. I got 9+ sacks for Demarcus Ware this season. This defense is about to be fire. And look, Demarcus Walker's not going to get very much better than he already is. So whether or not that is the case or not, if we look at what he did during the course of the end of the year, you could actually make a case that maybe if he improves just a little bit and we get a little bit more upside out of Demarcus Walker, again, I sold him short. Um, if he is as good as potentially as he could potentially be, then this might end up being the guy. This might be a very surprising scenario. Remember, Yannick Ngakoue took up a majority of the snaps last season until getting injured, and that when Demarcus Walker stepped in, he did a decent job. Did he do fantastic? No, but he's going to be in the second season of this defense. He's going to be more familiar with the process, and he's going to be more comfortable with the people around him. And I think he's still got opportunity to improve and be a better player. So could there be 9 sacks in Demarcus Walker's game? Look at this. I mean, he actually does push the. He This is just some really good video of him. Run stopper, incredible run stopper. Of course, I told you guys it's the #1 rush defense, but I mean he's also making a lot of big time plays out here that we just didn't recognize because we were so busy and we were so focused on the mistakes, we weren't looking at the good that was happening. So if we cut down the mistakes, then it could be fantastic. Now, Clay Harbor just reposted this that this is Emmanuel Acho who said that the Bears should have a top 3 offense in the NFC. There's a few people who are disagreeing with him, but who gives a shit what they say? Go watch that at your own leisure because I think he's got some important information. Also, Up and Adams show revealed, of course, that from Tom Pellisario that Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, and Keenan Allen had a throwing session together a week before the draft. Then you have this. This is a question that's being asked by an ESPN writer. Could the Bears have the best offense in the NFC North? That's the question that they're asking. The answer: the offensive imbalance in Chicago prompted changes in scheme, play caller, and quarterback. But Caleb Williams isn't just coming into a good situation as a rookie. He might be quarterbacking the best offense in the NFC North. The Bears have a good group of playmakers around their quarterback, from former Huskies wide receiver Roma Dunze, who was drafted 9th overall, to DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, and Cole Kmet. And they didn't even mention Gerald Everett or Roshan Johnson. Chicago has all the tools to become a top 10 unit in 2024 and take the title of best offense in the division away from Detroit. A lot of people are talking about, I can't believe that anybody would say that. Well, listen, you better start watching the game because it's getting kind of crazy what the Bears could do. So if you're not paying attention, then you will be paying attention at the beginning of this next season. I told you guys before that I think the Bears are good for 13 wins. Am I going to stick with that? Probably not. I'm probably going to hedge when we get closer to the season. Once we start to see the practice, I'll be at the Bears Family Fest. I'll be looking, I'll be watching the games and we'll see what they look like. If they look legitimately like what we want them to look like, if Caleb Williams looks like the guy that we're hoping, then all bets are off and I'll be 13 games. If he doesn't, and I know he's going to go through rookie, there's going to be rookie mistakes, there's going to be problems, there's going to be but if he looks as good as advertised or even close to as good as advertised, if he looks anywhere close to that, then this is a 13-win team. 12 wins, maybe 11 wins, whatever it is, it's going to be a playoff worthy team. Now, some of you might be like, well, we say that every year with the Chicago Bears. Yeah, we do, but not this team, not this build, not these drafts that we've had for the last bunch of years, not this coaching staff. This is not your father's Bears. I said it before, I'm saying again, this is not your father's Bears. This is a Chicago Bears team that is built to compete and they are built to win right now. And they are on the clock to make it happen. If they do, and we have a nice little run into the playoffs, even if we have a first round exit, then we're still on the up. The important thing right now, get into the playoffs, show people that you can get there and you can make it. If you get one win in the playoffs, it's a fantastic season. If you If you go out in the first round, it's still a fantastic season. It's better than it was before, and there's the improvement. And then, of course, imagine what happens if Caleb Williams is as decent as we think he's going to be. Imagine what happens when he gets to his second year upgrade, and Roma Dunzi gets to his second year upgrade. Imagine what happens when this team vastly improves in almost every aspect of the game. And next year, they're going to have, I think, 9 draft picks again. Like, they're going to have another big draft class coming up. So, if you're not thinking that the future is bright in Chicago, you're not paying attention, or you're jaded, and you know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. McFack says the next to be discussed is what type of offense will Waldron run? I've heard it might be tight end oriented. Waldron likes tight end sets. Yes, playoffs are the expectation. Yeah, so it's being said that Shane Waldron likes 3 tight end sets, and I think anybody would like a 3 tight end set if you had 3 big tight ends, one who could go out into the slot, like Brock Bowers we were talking about. But if you look at the way the roster is kind of manufactured, if you will, or made up, um, then right now I got 12 men on the field. So if you have no DeAndre Swift in the field, then you've got 2 wide receivers and 3 tight ends, because it makes sense to get these tight end. It makes sense to get these wide receivers as much playing time as you possibly can. However, if you run with a 2 tight end set, and no what, or you could go 3 tight ends with a tight end covering for Roma Dunzi. But here's the thing: multiple tight ends are probably not on the menu with this lineup. So when you want to run a 3 tight end set, what you're going to want to run is you're going to want to run a 7 men on the line, and you're going to have one. You're going to have one tight end in. He's going to be kind of set up for a run play, but he's kind of a slot receiver at that point. So I don't think that we're going to see that, because I don't think that we have a third tight end that makes it look that way. This is what the roster is going to look like probably opening day. There are 12 men on the field, but that's just because we had so much talent kind of sitting out here. So one of these guys will not be out there at that moment. Most probably Gerald Everett. It'll probably be It'll be 3 wide receivers and 1 tight end, with a lot of 2 tight end sets. I don't think we're going to see 3 unless we get down to if we're on the goal line and it's first and goal, you might start to see some 3 tight end moves being made there. But otherwise, I don't really think we're going to see that this much. One thing about Shane Waldron is, if he likes to do it, it doesn't mean that he's going to. The fact that he would enjoy it, or he has schemes and likes the way that plays out, doesn't mean that that's what he's going to do. He's going to do, in my opinion, what's best for this team, and what's going to be best for this team is going to be 3 tight end sets with a running back, and probably 1 tight end. And then when you sub in your second tight end and you give a 5 wide receiver, you're basically giving yourself like a 5 wide receiver look right there. Then you're probably going to have DeAndre Swift not in the backfield at that point. So that would be my opinion of how they're going to play. But um, the idea here is certainly that the Bears are going to have the best team, the best offense in all of football, or at least one of the top 10, which is going to be a long time. You know what I mean? It'd be a long time. And this is Pete Carroll had to harp on him to run the ball in Seattle. And here's the thing. Chicago's always been a running team, so people are going to be kind of annoyed by Shane Waldron wanting to air the ball out. And this is a run oriented team, the number 1 run offense last season. So it will be interesting to see whether or not he embraces that sort of aspect. That's what that's what we're going to be wondering. Like, can Shane Waldron, and again, I think he's going to adapt to whatever it is that he wants, that he thinks should be done to best effect. Um, but I would get the sense here that he understands that he's coming into the number 1 rushing offense, and that we would want to be at least a top 10 rushing offense by the end of the season, as long as we're a top 10 passing offense as well. Remember, as passing goes, we were one of the worst teams in the league. So if there's a massive improvement in that, and there's a little bit of a reduction in the running game, then as long as we're improved, as long as we're winning ball games, as long as the defense is stepping up when it needs to and it's making the stops that it needs to stop, we're going to be a fantastic and just look. I think it's going to be a great season. We're going to talk about how many wins I think they're going to have very, very soon. And by the way, if you haven't already, consider hitting the like button on the way in. We got about like 84 people or so watching, but only 12 to 15 likes. I mean, come on, guys, help me out. It helps me tremendously to continue to provide content. If you just hit that like button, it doesn't cost you anything. So anyway, that's my time, guys. Let's get out. I'm going to get out of here a little bit early today. I got to hit the gym and get the swole on, if you know what I mean. That's my time for today. Bear down, and we will talk to you guys